Hello everyone, it's Jabbar here. In today's world, we have the privilege of eating virtually any type of crop we want at any time we want. With our globalized society, importing and exporting crops to and from distant lands is something that happens with relative ease, allowing people from more northerly climates to enjoy tropical fruits like bananas and pineapples, while crops endemic to specific regions had become global staples. Corn, tomatoes, potatoes, and chocolate are all indigenous to the Americas, yet they are some of the most popular and important crops in the world. Then we have crops like rice and tea that have their origins in the Far East. So what about Africa? What are some of the most popular crops that we owe Africans a huge thanks for? The yam is a tuber crop that is grown in the tropics, including Africa, Asia, and Polynesia. However, the oldest known evidence of yam domestication dates back to 5000 BCE in West Africa, and to present day, 94% of the world's supply of yams hails from this region, and 71% of that from Nigeria alone. Because of this, West Africa has become nicknamed the Yam Belt. Needless to say, yams were an integral part of many African societies and remain so to this day. In fact, the word yam itself is just an English corruption of several West African words for it, with the Fulani calling it Nyami and the Ashanti calling it Anyinam. Some West African societies also celebrate an annual yam harvest festival. Like the North American Thanksgiving, some of these take place in autumn, celebrate the harvest season, and the tradition of being thankful. Consuming yams is still practiced to this day during harvest season, with yams being among the most iconic Thanksgiving dishes. A tradition that is quite possibly a relic of the analogous African traditions brought over by enslaved peoples. Today we look at watermelon as a cool, refreshing fruit that we enjoy on summer days. Apparently, our ancestors shared the same sentiment. With its large size and thick leathery rind, the watermelon is incredibly resilient to hot weather and arid conditions, and its wild ancestor was much smaller and tougher than the modern variety. Its namesake comes from the fact that it has historically been grown as a source of water. With 92% of its flesh being composed of water, it was prized for its ability to store water during the dry season. It is widely believed to have been first cultivated in the dry regions of southern Africa around 5,000 years ago. This is further exemplified by a large diversity of watermelon species still growing in the wild in that region to this day, ranging from hard, soft, big, small, sweet, bland, and bitter varieties. It eventually spreads to the Nile Valley, the earliest known remains being discovered in Egyptian tombs that are over 4,000 years old. Later, it spread to India and China in the 7th and 10th centuries respectively, and to Europe in the 13th century by way of Moorish invasions, and then finally made its way to the Americas by Spanish colonists and Africans in the year 1576. To this day, it is still widely cultivated in tropical regions or climates that are similarly warm as the environment that their wild ancestors thrived in, and they are used for more or less the same purpose: a cool, refreshing, hydrating snack to eat on hot summer days. Oh, and speaking of which, summertime is pretty much here, and with summer comes hot weather. And unfortunately for our African ancestors, it was always summer and always hot. In some cases, it was the hottest places in the entire world. But fortunately for us, most of us at least, we don't live in the hottest places in the entire world, and we can enjoy the coldest water. The coldest water thermoses can keep your water icy cold for over 36 hours. This is accomplished through its advanced lid technology, which also includes this tiny little puncture hole which lets in just enough air to build up pressure necessary to drink water through its built-in straw, thereby keeping your water much colder, much longer than other thermoses. It's so well insulated that it doesn't even sweat on the outside from condensing water, so everything around it stays dry. Also, if you take it in the water with you, it has a rubber grip and a handle so you can hang onto it easier, and it floats so you won't have to worry about it sinking to the bottom of the water. It fits in most cup holders, bike racks, and cars, and it also comes in multiple sizes. This 32 ounce was more than enough, though admittedly I should probably drink more water, so I might consider getting their 64 ounce or their gallon thermos. You can enter for a chance to win a free gallon thermos at the link down below, or receive a 10% discount on your entire order using my referral link, also down below. A warm, or sometimes cold, but always stimulating drink that is integral to the daily routine of millions of people across the world. Some people can't even fathom a reality without this hot brown drink in their mug shortly after waking up in the morning. Horn Africans have been enjoying this pleasurable drink since at least the 6th century CE, but it may have been discovered by goats. Yeah, you heard me correctly. Goats. According to legend, an Ethiopian herdsman named Kaldi noticed his goats acting excitedly after chewing some wild berries. Curiously, he tried the berries for himself and he too enjoyed the stimulating effect. A monk later encountered Kaldi in his overly stimulated state and tried the berries as well, but they were too bitter. He then took them to a monastery, trying several cooking techniques including roasting and brewing until he finally created a delicious drink, which he shared with his brethren. The drink was later adopted as a means of keeping them awake during long prayer nights. Caffeine ration bars were also reportedly used by Ethiopian crusaders between the years of 523 and 525 CE, during their campaigns against the Himyaritic ruler Yusuf Yarush in Yemen, who had been severely cruel to Christians. During his trek to discover the source of the Nile, European explorer James Bruce described a mixture eaten by Ethiopians that consisted of roasted ground coffee beans, oil, and fat rolled into a ball and eaten during desert expeditions. While it is not known when coffee first spread out of Africa, it is likely that coffee spread to the Muslim world during the time of the aforementioned Crusades when pre-Islamic Yemen became part of the Kingdom of Aksum. This is all just speculation though, as there are several differing accounts and theories. Cola is one of the most popular and iconic flavors of soft drink in the world, with Coca-Cola being a popular cultural symbol and is even famously credited for creating our default childhood image of Santa, a bearded, jolly old man in a red suit. However, while most of us are aware of its dark past reputation of using cocaine in its recipe, a relatively little known fact is that it also contained cola, hence the name Coca-Cola. So what is cola? Well, cola is a nut indigenous to West Africa that has been cultivated since ancient times. Like the aforementioned coffee, cola nuts are a stimulating crop due to their naturally occurring caffeine content. In West Africa, cola nuts serve more or less the same purpose as tea in Eurasia, and the aforementioned coffee in Ethiopia in the Near East, or chocolate in Mesoamerica. Seems like every part of the world somehow managed to have independently discovered their own bitter-tasting brown-colored crop that keeps them awake at night. I also find it interesting how every popular caffeine-bearing crop of the past has been used as currency at some point in history. Cola nuts being no different, as they formed an integral part of the economy of West Africa since ancient times, and sometimes even served as a form of currency. According to the Kano Chronicle, famous Hausa female general Amina of the Kano Kingdom demanded a tribute of 10,000 cola nuts after her armies invaded the kingdom of Nupe. Sorghums and millets are grain crops that most people here in the West have never even heard of. There's good reason. Unlike crops like corn or wheat, they are not used in common foods like breads or tacos. Despite being staple crops in several rural communities in Africa and Asia, a typical Westerner will likely only find sorghum or millet in specialty products that brand themselves as multigrain, such as breads, cereals, and energy bars. Most varieties of sorghums or millets are unpalatable and used exclusively for baskets, huts, or brewing. As with the aforementioned cola nuts, the time frame in which sorghums and millets were domesticated is not fully clear. While the oldest known conclusive date of its domestication is unclear, there is tentative evidence that pearl millet may have been domesticated as early as 6000 BCE, and other varieties of sorghums and millets later on in different regions of Africa. It is theorized that it coincided with the mass migrations of peoples from the Sahara Desert as it became increasingly more arid. They'd have desperately sought reliable food sources, and the Niger River and Nile River systems would have been the most probable conduits for its cultivation. This is coupled by the fact that sorghum is a drought-resistant crop that would have thrived in these increasingly arid conditions. There are also other African crops that I'd like to include on this list, but either they are not very widespread world crops or their origins are disputed, as they were cultivated in other places aside from Africa before the modern era. Eggplant and okra are two such crops that are theorized to have originally been domesticated in Africa, but evidence for this is inconclusive since these crops were cultivated in southern Asia as well, so either region of the world could have been the originators. African rice is another honorable mention since it presents the only known instance of independent rice domestication aside from the East Asian variety. African rice is a species distinct from Asian rice, and scientists believe that it was first domesticated around 1000 BCE along the Niger River in West Africa. However, in this day and age, African rice is typically only grown as a staple for indigenous rural communities and is not grown for surplus export to other countries. Asian rice has overtaken the place of African rice in the majority of markets in and out of Africa. So there you have it. Those are just a few world crops that were brought to us originally from Africa. For sources, check out my website, linked below. If you'd like to support future projects, you can do so there as well, or by clicking the join button below, or by becoming a patron. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching as usual, and always remember, we don't come from nothing.